pretty excited tonight. I am very, very excited tonight because I pulled off another teddy bear design, and I want to show you guys. So you saw this one where we never got to finish the hearts tonight, but that's one of the parts of the design. But then tonight I came on early and I showed you the before picture, and I talked about adding flowers to her. Oh my gosh, she is adorable. She's not finished. We got to go back on Thursday and finish up. But, oops. Oh no, oh no, oh no. This is what I get for having so many piles of paint, because paint got on the back of one of them. Now they're on the front of one of them. So, we started the class at 7 o'clock. We got done about 9:30. And we're not done yet. So, got that cleaned off. I'm going to bring you down here and kind of show you what I'm working on. And I've got a couple of flowers to put on there. But this one's going to have to go away because we got paint on the back of that one. Let me bring you up on my iPad so I can see and talk to you. There we go. Maybe. Okay. Isn't she so adorable? Hey, Colleen. Hi, Wanda. Thank you, Vicki. I do. I like the ones with the... Now, I do like the heart one, but I want to go back and do my background. It's a little bit too dark on the one with the wood. And once I get... These are not shaded up. These need a lot of work. And then I got to put grass in here. I need to fix my too dark lines in there. And then it'll be like conversation hearts. So they'll be like, be mine, kiss me, those things. So that's more Valentine's Day. Where this one, I think, could be put out not so much on your front door. I'm not saying we want it would work for that. Some people may like it for that, but I'm thinking for a little girl's room. And then I thought if you bought a small frame to put here and attach the frame, like an ornate small white frame, and then put a piece of poster board or something back there, not poster board, but black wood, and then wrote the little girl's name or a birth announcement. Wouldn't that be cute? That would be so pretty. I do like the background. I didn't know what I liked about it to begin with, but I knew that I would get overcomplicated and start shading all these. They're not all finished. Now that I shaded that, I want to go back and shade the white ones. And so I'm going to have a lot of hours in there, but once I do that, I can make a print of it. It's just going in and doing all the detail. So after I got off, I noticed that there's a couple of areas that I wanted to add flowers to. And I need to add a few down here, kind of just to fill it out and make it bigger. So that's what I'm trying to do. Yes, for a nursery, that's what I'm thinking. And then I could even take this, because my first thought with the nursery was to start a blanket up here and have the blanket come all the way across and then write the kid's name on the blanket. Would be really cute. And so that's another possibility that I could do with it. I could also just not even use the background, just cut this bear out and have the cutout of the bear would be easy too. The cutout of the bear would be simpler than all this background work I've done. Much simpler. There's a lot of work in the backgrounds. So I'm glad I did it both ways because, you know, sometimes some people like one thing, some people like the other. And I just knew that I didn't want it to be just for Valentine's Day. So I think putting that lattice in there, now we don't have a Valentine. So they could make the other one for Valentine's Day. And actually, when I was doing this, it was just supposed to be the same setup, just a different background so they could choose. But then I got to talking to you guys earlier, and then I was like, oh, it would really look pretty with flowers on it. So I love the flowers. I just love how they cascade down around her. Pink and blue. And I had a hard time. I wasn't sure. Actually, I'm going to sneak a pink flower in there. Oh, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Tiffany. Put that in there. So now, you know, I loved these flowers when I did them. They're not as complicated as the flowers I did on the fall, but I will be back on Thursday night. I think I've got the 9 o'clock spot, and I'm going to do a design on a pastel background, and it probably will have a word saying on it, and then I will load it up with flowers. I am going to add some extra flowers. Let's see. I like to look for spots that, I don't know, I think that one was supposed to be purple at one time. I think I painted over it. They start running together after a little while. That one's going to be a rosebud. Oh, oh, I was talking to Colleen today, and I forgot my grandkids at school. Paisley's like, they only have to walk 3 blocks. They have to cross 2 side streets to get home. It's not like they had to walk very far at all. But yeah, I'm in trouble. I mean, literally, if you went diagonally to the school, you would cross one road. And they act like they just walked 10 miles when they walked 2 blocks. Seriously, I could probably go out there and count the steps from the school to my house. If they cut across in the alley, they don't even have to walk a full block. It's that close to my house. So, yeah, they're not happy, let's say that. But it was kind of cold and rainy out. And I didn't know it, but Porter was, I did not have to pick him up. I guess he went with his dad. So when I saw Paisley, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot you. But then she told me that Justin picked him up. Paisley stays after school for a little while. So she was the only one who had to walk home. But seriously, when she came here, I'm like, I had to walk 1.5 miles home on the railroad tracks to get to my house. And she said, well, that's because you went to school 80 years ago. I'm like, I would have loved to have only walked 2 blocks to school. Seriously, I can go, if I walk them to just staying on the same block to the end of the block, I could see them go in the school door. It's that close. I guess Porter left a little bit early. He had one of those incidents where, you know how kids rock back on their chair and they're on 2 legs? He went crashing today into the back of the desk behind him. So he got to get out a little bit early. Now we're going to make this into a bud. Oh, I got to dry up my paint a little bit. It's so wet I can't do anything in there. I want to do some nursery signs this year. They are 7 and 11. And the thing is, there's a whole bunch of kids walking at the same time with them. It's not like they're by themselves. They're seriously 1.5 blocks with the school crossing guard. And when they cross the road, there's one house and there's my house. So it's so incredibly easy to get there. Most kids ride their bikes. Hi, Karen. Thank you. Oh, it's not your fault. The thing was, I had my alarm set, but I don't know why it didn't go off. I think it's the first, I think I forgot Paisley one time before. I'm taking that back. I forgot Porter one time because he just goes back to school, or he just walks down until you can not cross when you cross the street, and he'll go back and wait at the school. And put some dots on these. In fact, when I go pick them up, I usually drive the car. And it's really bad because I'm further away in the pickup line than I am at my house. My house is closer than the end of the pickup line. Of course, by the time it moves up, I'm a little bit closer. But, yeah. That's the thing. I mean, I live in a very, very small town. It's like less than 3,000 people here. I know, we rode our bikes all the time. Kids these days don't even want to ride bikes. Neither one of them know how to ride a bike. and they're not interested in knowing how to ride a bike because they live out in the country, so there's no safe place for them to ride a bike out there, so they just never been interested in learning. Oh, I like the white dots on here. I'll make them show up better. I mean, my mom used to always do the 5 miles in the snow thing, but I always thought that was ridiculous, and I thought I always had it easy because I only had about a mile and 1 1/4 mile to school. I got a lot of these that aren't finished. $125 a month? Holy cow. Man, that's a lot. Thank you, Marcia. Oh, I can't wait to do a Highland truck cow. I am definitely doing one. Shoot, I'm looking at moving my exercise classes to a new gym, and right now the ladies pay $5 a day, and if I change gyms, they've got to be a member, which is $30 a month, and then plus pay whatever I charge for the class. And they're like, don't think so. This new gym's kind of getting, nobody's willing to pay $40 to $45 a month. So, plus your classes. But you'll love, I love silver sneakers. I love the ladies in there. And we all figured out that we can't exercise on our own. It's like, having my painting groups a lot more fun with people, doing it with people. If I had to do it on my own, we learned in COVID that we just wouldn't do it. So it wasn't good. Kathy, doesn't that make it look even better? It's like, oh, but it does add more work. That is just crazy. $125. Thank you, Marilyn. I know, a baby Highland cow. I want to do a whole nursery room series with woodland animals, more than I ever have time for. 28. Oh, Colleen, I did take that. I was a member of that group for a while, that app, 28 Days in Me. But now I've done, not, the chair exercises is what we do in class, but I just joined a new one called, the new thing now is Sonoma exercises. And that's what I need because my pelvic floor is dysfunctional. I know that sounds really weird, but I have a hard time. I want to sit on my ankles again. Yeah, kind of the Kegel exercises, but they're more stretches. They're more, you know, going down into the splits type and bending over and holding onto your toes with your nose touching your knees and being more flexible. I've got the strength and everything. I just don't have the, I didn't know there was such a thing as a pelvic floor dysfunction, but there is. And that's why my tailbone hurts. And when I do those exercises, my tailbone does not hurt. I thought I'd fallen and hurt my tailbone at some point, but got it all figured out. But it's so much nicer because you make friends and you can sit and talk, and it makes exercising go by so much faster if you can talk to people and you talk about the gossip in town. You know, and all the new, okay, this building's doing this you know, because you all have things in common. So that's what's really good, and it keeps your mind off of what you're doing. And then you're like, oh, we're done. It is nice when you do it with somebody else. Yeah, so that's my problem is I want to be able to, and I was doing that until I got sick in September. I had made such good progress. I was going up there on my own, doing floor exercises, and then I got sick for 2 months, and now I'm back at ground zero. It's like I get to do it all over again. And I'm not really pumped on doing it again. Now I got to get back in the mood. Do you ever have to be in the mood to do something? And it's like, ugh. I was hoping to start this week, but that didn't happen again. That one's going to take a while to dry up. So you would definitely enjoy it. I recommend it to anybody. Because we don't know we've lost it until it's gone. And what I like about silver sneakers is, you know, you don't really notice maybe that much, but then when they go in and have knee replacement or hip replacement, and they're always so proud going into therapy because their therapist can't believe that they're able to get up and down so easily. And one just went on a cruise, and she's like, that's the first time I went on a cruise and didn't need help getting up and all of that. So I'm not going to say that I jump up for joy when I have to go there, but when I walk through the door and I see everybody, my attitude changes. The whole time I'm sitting there getting ready, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to get out of bed. But then I go and my whole attitude changes for the day. But Karen, once that's the whole thing, those exercise classes will get you in shape to where you do get your mobility back. They really do help. And like I said, once you make friends with people, it's a lot easier to go. Because, you know, so for a lot of the ladies, it's more socializing. Socializing is just as important as exercising. Getting out, talking to people, it's very important because sometimes, you know, we get in that rut. You know, if I had more time, sometimes we'd go out for breakfast afterwards, or like we got together last week, went out for our Christmas because I couldn't go out on Christmas because I'd been sick, and I've been teaching it for about 8 years. It is hard to figure it. Well, it's not really hard. It's getting in the habit. That's the thing. It's not. It's hard. It's so hard because before I got sick in September and I devoted my time, I was spending about 45 minutes in the pool. I was walking a mile on the treadmill, and then I was doing my 30 minutes of stretches. So once you get the first few days out of the way that are really hard, then it becomes a habit and you actually look forward to it. So there's a big difference once you get used to it. And then you get in the habit, and then you miss it when you don't do it. But now I got to work that habit all the way back up, because right now I only teach 2 days a week. And what I noticed now that I don't have, after my last dog died, when you don't have a purpose to walk, it's hard to walk. And my dog, especially when I had 3 of them, 2 went out by themselves and 1 went out by itself. I was always walking down there by the school and through the park because I had dogs that needed exercise. So I did it for the dogs, but I'm like, man, I really need to get another dog because I have no reason to get out in the cold and take a dog for a walk. I have no reason. And I'm not going to do it if I don't have something that I have to do it. You know, with the dog, you had no choice. You had to get out there and do it. Whether it was raining and I had to get in the car and drive the dog to the park to walk underneath the pavilion so he could pee under the pavilion, whatever. Oh my goodness, Rhonda, that sounds horrible. Well, Karen, what you need to do is ask your doctor what exercises are good for you. Hi, Becky. You like the skunk? I love the skunk too. So you need to ask your doctor, because I guarantee you no doctor is going to say, I always say this to my class, I'm like, I had to go to the doctor or whatever. The doctor will never tell you, this is what I'm waiting for in my life. I have exercised for years, ever since I was 35 and I'm now 62. I started exercising at 35 because I could not walk up a hill. So I started exercising and I taught Zumba, and I was doing 8 classes a week. And no doctor has ever said, man, you've exercised for that long and that much, and you walked 5 miles a day for these years, and you know what? You're good. Why don't you just sit down and relax? You're fine. They've never said that to me once. Never. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways, and it's starting out slowly and adding. My first thing was when my daughter made me walk down that hill to see the cow. I was like, I looked at that, and it wasn't even a big hill, you guys. I'm not talking that it was a half a block of a hill. And I remember huffing and puffing to get up that hill, and I'm like, this is crazy. I was actually almost 36, and I'm like, that's sad. That is so sad. You don't think about what you've lost, and so that's when I started. And I kept walking every day. I walked down that hill, and I walked up it for about a week. And then I judged my distance from the telephone poles, or the power poles, and every couple of days I walked one more pole farther until I got to the end of 2.5 miles. Then what's good about walking in a straight line to 2.5 miles is you got to turn around and you got to get back home. So nothing's going to prevent you from walking the 2.5 miles home. So that's the good part of walking in a straight line. Because, you know, if you go around the block or something, you can kind of end. But you can do a cut through something to get through and to get home. But when it's a straight line, you have no choice but to make it back. My family did come out and check on me quite a bit, though. Sometimes my daughter would ride her three-wheeler alongside me. Oh. Good night, Karen. Rhonda, you're pretty good at knowing all the exercise stuff. It is. It's important. And then when COVID hit and we didn't have class, it was like none of us did anything. And then we had to come back, and it was so hard. And I felt really bad for Elsie because she had gotten so good at those sit and stands, and when she came back, she could hardly do them. She worked so hard to get to that point. Ugh. And my one lady, she was in good health anyway, but she was 93, and we would walk the marathon or the 5K as a group, and she was in her late 80s. I think we did it for about 5 years. And her last year, she was 92, and she said, "Oh, I think this year I'm only going to be able to make it 2 miles." And I'm like, "That's okay." No, so because I'd always be the last one with them. I said, "Marcy will pick you up on the golf cart. It's good. You know, I'll call her to come get you at the end of 2 miles." So we got to the end of the 2 miles, and she looked at me, and she looked at the finish line, and she said, "I think I can do this." And I said, "I know you can do it." And that lady made it to the end of the finish line. We were so proud of her. She did amazing. So she walked the whole 3 miles at 90. She was 92. She died at 93. So it's amazing what it can do. I kind of think now I need a bow around her neck. It's like, I gotta stop. It's gonna get overly complicated. But I like those white dots in there. So I still have to go in and add some shading into my white stripes, but I'm going to do that later. So, yes, it really does help, doesn't it, Rhonda? It's just getting in the habit of doing it. That's the thing. If you can make it a habit, you're good. I'm still trying to get in the habit of getting out of bed by 7:30 in the morning. That one's tough. That's the toughest one I got going for me. So I'm trying to go to bed earlier. It's 11 o'clock, so I'm going home, going to bed, because I'm going to try to get up at 7:30 again tomorrow. All right, ladies, thank you.